Assalamu alaikum, friends. Just imagine, it is 2 a.m. You wake up to a pitch-black room, and you get up to get a glass of water. Suddenly, your eyes catch the mirror in your room, and you see a shadow standing right behind you. How terrified would you be? The horrifying events I am sharing with you today are not fictional
Welcome
movie
to your
plots.
worst nightmare.
They are real experiences
Tonight, we
shared by
explore the
living
darkness.
people. If you have a weak heart, I advise you to recite Ayat al-Kursi for protection.
Welcome to your
because
worst
listening
nightmare.
to this is no
Tonight,
ordinary matter.
we explore the darkness.
Let us begin our stories.
Nilla sister, I belong to Islamabad. I have always been a very practical girl and never believed in ghost stories or witches. But what happened to my brothers and I in our ancestral farmhouse during the COVID-19 lockdown changed my perspective forever. To escape the suffocating boredom of the city lockdown, my father, a retired Pakistan Army officer, made a sudden decision. He sat us down and announced that we would move to our grandfather's old farmhouse near Sargada for a few months. It was a 150-year-old Gothic-style mansion standing right in the middle of 40 acres of land. Unbeknownst to us kids at first, there was a dense orchard behind the house, concealing an old family graveyard. A few months into our stay, the first true horror occurred. I have a habit of staying awake for hours before falling asleep. That night, around 10 p.m., I heard a distinct knock on my bedroom door. A male voice whispered, "Are you asleep? Let me in." Half asleep, assuming it was my father, I replied, "Yes, come in." I heard light footsteps approaching my bed, and then I felt the physical weight of someone leaning onto the mattress, just like a parent does to kiss you goodnight. But then it hit me. I never heard the door creak open. I snapped my eyes open. Standing directly over my bed was a man staring down at me with pure hatred. He had jet black hair, a crooked nose, and deep, angry brows. Despite the darkness, he was perfectly visible. Most terrifyingly, he was wearing a black raincoat. In a panic, I slapped the switch of my bedside lamp. The moment the light flooded the room, the man vanished, leaving me drenched in sweat.
The activity only worsened. One afternoon, around 3:45 p.m., I heard the main gate unlock. Thinking it was my father returning from the army office, I walked out to greet him, but there was no response. Looking into the large mirror in the main hall, I saw a dark reflection moving up the stairs. I called out again, but the entity silently glided up without causing the old wooden creaks to squeak. It turned into my parents' room. My instinct screamed at me to run, but my brain tried to rationalize it. Armed with a sharp decorative sword from my room, I stood behind my door, holding my breath. From the hallway, I heard a muffled male voice talking as if on a phone, speaking a bizarre, unrecognizable language. When my father actually arrived home later, a thorough search revealed no intruder, yet the locked main door had undeniably been opened from the inside. A few weeks later, my siblings, my cousin, and I foolishly decided to play a prank. We decided to lock ourselves inside that creepy washing area, turn off the lights, and see what happened. We piled into the small room and shut the mesh door. Within a minute, the atmosphere suffocated us. Suddenly, my cousin screamed and grabbed my hand, crying that something had touched her leg. We laughed, thinking someone was playing a joke, but when my brothers denied it, a horrific silence fell over the room. I frantically reached for the wall to flip the light switch. But where the wall should have been, there was only vast, empty darkness. The room was tiny, yet my arms swung through empty air as if the walls had expanded by miles. We were trapped in another dimension. My cousin shrieked, "Something is tightly grabbing my leg! Save me!" In absolute hysteria, my hand finally struck the
the door open, and we tumbled out into the bright living lounge. Shaking violently, my cousin pointed back into the dark room and cried, "Did you see him?" Right before the door swung open completely, she had seen the man in the black raincoat standing in the corner. We never stepped foot near that room again.
Welcome to your worst nightmare. Tonight, we explore the darkness.
On our final day before returning to Islamabad, my brother and I went to the basement to play video games. We discovered thousands of tiny, shattered glass pieces scattered across the floor and furniture. The entire glass dome fixture from the ceiling light had shattered, and the heavy iron holder was ripped down. Oddly enough, we were sitting in the adjacent room the entire time and heard absolutely nothing. It felt like a parting message from the entity. To this day, the caretaker reports that his guard dog stares at the dark stairwell door and whimpers for hours. I will never forget that invisible touch on the sofa, nor those horrific days.